George Army. A class of 1964 inductee into the Rhode Island Reds Hall of Fame, George Army, the Reds' iconic and revered trainer from 1934 to 1969, had the longest tenure of any individual associated with the team. Self-taught during a time when there were no schools or programs teaching his craft, Army became so proficient that his counterparts around the league sought out his advice on tending to injuries even during games for the opposition's players. He famously taught himself to stitch by slicing oranges and then deftly sewing them back together. Born in Millbury, Massachusetts in 1898, George was a highly talented baseball player in his youth. He was a catcher who would eventually play professionally and then manage at the AAA level. He barnstormed with some of the game's greatest, including Babe Ruth. When Gene Danuke, a fellow baseball star, took over as GM of the Reds, he convinced George to help with the team's training during the offseason, and the rest is history. Among his most notable proteges were two local young men who would go on to their own Hall of Fame careers as trainers and claim George as their inspiration and role model. Tommy Woodcock with the St. Louis Blues and Hartford Whalers, and Pete Demers with the Los Angeles Kings. Of equal note, George is also the patriarch of one of Rhode Island's most famous hockey families. His son Tom was the first of 3 generations of Armies to star with the Providence College Friars when he captained the team during their 1952-53 season. Grandsons Tom Jr. starred at Wesleyan, and Bill became an All-American at Boston College. George's youngest grandson, Tim, became team captain and All-American at PC. He later coached the Friars before moving on to a career coaching in the NHL. Tim's son, Derek, would later become part of one of the Friars' most famous scoring lines, centering future NHLers Noel Acciari and Brandon Tanev. George was with the Reds during all of their Calder Cup championship seasons. Over that time, he was honored with his selection to serve in both the 1941 and 1956 AHL All-Star Games. He sadly passed away on the job on January 11, 1969.